Okay, Rabotai, last week, the president of Argentina, Milei, good friend of the Jewish people, very warm heart, was visiting in Israel. They honored him with lighting the torch, lighting the beacon. It was very, very beautiful event where he participated, and afterwards he asked to visit the Yeshiva Chevron in Yerushalayim. That yeshiva is one of the biggest yeshivot in the world. It's the second, I think, to the yeshiva of Ponovich in Bnei Brak. Yeah, it has a lot of students. It's a beautiful place. It's a very, very high-level yeshiva, and he wanted to visit over there. It was very nice. He appreciates Torah. He wanted to visit over there, and he did. He went over there. It was very important visit. It gave a real chizuk, and he walked around the yeshiva. The students greeted him. It was very nice. Then they sat down, and the Rosh Yeshiva spoke. He spoke also a few words. The Rosh Yeshiva spoke, and he went his way, and it was all over the news everywhere. It was really, really nice. A Kiddush Hashem that usually a Kiddush Hashem a Jew make. Over here, you see that the person that honors Torah, even though he's not Jewish, could honor Torah and come to a yeshiva and appreciate it. We need to really feel appreciation for such a person. Argentina is not a small country. It's a second biggest country in South America, second to Brazil. It's huge amount of land, a lot of people. It's a very, very important country, and he's the head of that country. He's the president. It's very, very nice. Elamai, as always, by Jewish people, you have critics. Always you have critics. Those that said, "What are you talking about? How did you let him come to the yeshiva?" It's what? It's bitul Torah. It's bitul Torah. Students are learning, and now somebody's coming, is interrupting the learning. Now, we wouldn't even need to address this thing at all and ignore such people, but the truth of the matter is we can learn some halachot from it and some divrei Torah from it, so it's a chance. It's like an opportunity. So let's see some things that the Halacha says and some things from the Tanakh. One thing that the Halacha says, the Gemara in Berachot Memchet, the Gemara says that a person that has a chance, has an opportunity to see a melech, he should run to see that king. Elo Malchei Israel bilvad, says the Gemara, not only if he's a melech Israel, but also if he's a melech umot haolam, a king of one of the nations, even though he's not a Jew, he's a Gentile. You should run to see that king. That is a halacha that's nifsak in Shulchan Aruch. It's in Siman Resh Kaf Daled, Seif Tet. The Shulchan Aruch says mitzvah liishtadel. The Shulchan Aruch says the word mitzvah liishtadel lirot bemelachim ve'afilu malchei umot haolam, which means if you have an opportunity to go and see a melech umot haolam, if, for instance, President Trump is in town and you have an opportunity to go see him, pass the security. Today it's very easy to pass the security, by the way. If you can pass the security and go see President Trump, you should do that. It's an opportunity. Don't miss it. Even if you're learning, even if you're in the middle of learning, the Halacha is not talking about just people that are bored in the house doing nothing. The Halacha is talking about every person in Am Yisrael. More so, the Gemara says, in Berachot, Daf Kaf, Kaf Aleph, the Gemara says that Chachamim permitted being metameh on Tum'ah Derabanan, stepping on graves, which is sometimes Tum'ah Derabanan. So they uplifted the Isur of Tum'ah Derabanan, rabbinical impurity, in order to go and see that king. So it's so much of a mitzvah that Chachamim uplifted their restriction on Tum'ah Derabanan. So we see here's a halacha beferush. The Mishnah Berurah says that a person should go to see such a king once doesn't have to do that more than once. Unless he comes the second time with more honor, more chariots, more bodyguards, whatever it is, it's more honorable event, you should go to see. So how much more so if you don't have to step out of your Bet Midrash and he comes to you? King doesn't have to be king with a crown. King is a leader So that is Halacha in Shulchan Aruch. Let's take a look at the Tanakh. In the Tanakh we found stories as well. For example, in Melachim Aleph, the 5th chapter, it says over there about Melech Hiram. Hiram Melech Tzor. A goy, a Gentile king that came to see Shlomo HaMelech. He actually didn't come himself. He sent servants. He wanted to see a king of Am Yisrael, king that's so smart, so wise, that he wanted to appreciate it himself. He wanted to experience it himself. Now he couldn't come himself. He sent his servants, and Shlomo HaMelech accepted them. And then it says that Shlomo HaMelech, because of that, because he built the connection, the relationship, he was asking Hiram to help out with the building of Bet HaMikdash, and he did so. He provided a lot of material in order to build the Bet HaMikdash. So you see that Shlomo HaMelech, which was Chacham Mikol Adam, he was the wisest man ever that lived, and obviously was toiling in Torah. He's sitting and learning in every opportunity. Still, he found time to meet who? Not the king, not Hiram Melech Tzor, his servants, his messengers, he found time to meet them. Another story with Shlomo HaMelech is Malkat Sheva. Malkat Sheva, later on in Melachim, Perek Yud, it says over there that the queen of Sheva heard about Shlomo HaMelech, wonderful things, that he's so wise and so smart. She wanted to see it herself. She came herself. The Malbim, I think, over there, the Mefarshim explains that she could have went in a boat and get there much quicker, but she wanted to go in the desert in order to show extra appreciation. It's like we have a mitzvah to go to shul, and if the shul is a little further, you should go a little further. It's called Pschar Psiot. So therefore, she also had that concept that in order to honor the wisdom, the godly wisdom. It's not a wisdom of a human being. It's a godly wisdom. She understood that. She came in the desert with all her army and bodyguards and chariots and whatever it is, and she came to meet Shlomo HaMelech, and she spoke to him, and she asked him all kind of riddles and all kind of hard questions, and she was fascinated. So you see, the Shlomo HaMelech again had find the time in his basic schedule learning Torah to meet with Malkat Sheva. Another story, not less known and very famous, is the story of Yitro. Yitro, Choten Moshe. Yitro was a priest, and at the time he was still not Jewish, and he comes to meet Moshe Rabbeinu. Now, you might say that by Shlomo it was a king, so he had to leave his learning. So that's a different story. When you're a king, maybe you should leave. But how do you know that regular people should also leave their learning and go to meet a king? So not even a king, Yitro, he was a priest. He was a very, very important figure. He was a priest, and he changed different religions, and he was known to be a very, very important figure. So Moshe Rabbeinu had to leave. Moshe Rabbeinu, it was a family connection. It was his father-in-law. He left, and he went to the wilderness in order to meet Yitro. He didn't wait for him to come to him. When that happened, Aaron and his children also went with Moshe Rabbeinu. Says Rashi on Parashat Yitro, that mi ra'a elu yotzim velo yatsa acharem. Everybody, they saw Moshe Rabbeinu. Imagine, you see Chacham Ovadia coming out of his house and starts walking. Who wouldn't go with him? Hey, he never leaves his house. All of a sudden, you see him walking on Ocean Parkway towards a certain distance. You go after him. You follow him. The whole nation came out. Now, the Ramban, in the beginning of Parashat Yitro, brings a machloket of whether the parasha of Yitro when Yitro came to Moshe Rabbeinu happened before Matan Torah or after Matan Torah? If we say that it happened after Matan Torah, so people were learning. The Gemara explains that Moshe Rabbeinu was teaching Aaron, and then he taught again, Moshe and Aaron taught his children, and then Moshe, Aaron, and his children taught Am Yisrael, and then everybody taught again and again. Comes out that each one, the Rambam explains in the Akdama to the Mishnayot, each one learned at least 4 times everything that Moshe Rabbeinu received from Har Sinai, and they were busy learning, and still Klal Yisrael, Am Yisrael, left their learning in order to meet Yitro. But even if you hold like the other opinion that holds that Yitro came before Matan Torah, but we know that what Moshe Rabbeinu was doing the whole time. Moshe Rabbeinu was sitting and teaching the nation Torah. We see that anybody that had question, kol hadavar yakshe mimcha, anything that they had not clear, they came to Moshe Rabbeinu. Yitro saw that afterwards. He said to Moshe Rabbeinu, it's too much for you. You're going to break from everybody coming day and night. That's not the correct way to run this business of teaching Torah. You have to have helpers. You see that Am Yisrael were learning, and they come into Moshe Rabbeinu, and he was teaching them, he was showing them the right way, and still Am Yisrael at large find the time when they heard that Yitro is coming to leave and go and meet Yitro. So now the question is, why isn't it that Bitul Torah? Maybe it should be Bitul Torah. Why is it that everybody were doing so? We found that everybody were living, and even the Halacha says, as we said, Shulchan Aruch brings that it's mitzvah lishtadel lilech lirot b'melachim, to see the kings. But why? Why is that? So there's a fascinating marsha that brings the following. It's a marsha in Zvachim in Menachot. The marsha says that the reason you have to respect the king, he even speaks about wicked kings, but any king, is because the honor of a Kadosh Baruch Hu the kings is compared to the honor of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And he brings that it says that Malchuta Derkia ke Malchuta De'ara, which means there's a comparison between the kingdom of a Kadosh Baruch Hu and the kingdom in this world. And therefore, when you respect the king, you're respecting a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And when you're disrespecting, adds the Marsha, when you're disrespecting a king, you're disrespecting HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And we can explain that the Mefarshim bring the inyan of Chanupah, flattery. The Pele Yoetz says that some people, first of all, it's asur to flatter to anybody. Chanupah is davar asur. It's very, very bad. But sometimes it's permitted. He brings over there a list of things that you're allowed to do Chanupah for a rich person, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him wealth. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is interested in him. So therefore you should be machnif for a rabbi in order that he should teach you Torah. He brings for your wife. Don't say that loud. For your wife, you have to be machnif if you want to survive in the house. That's pikuach mishum pikuach nefesh. Don't say this over. We do that automatically. And one of the people you have to be machnif is a king. And why is that? Again, because that's the idea. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave the honor to a king, gave the honor to that rich person, HaKadosh Baruch Hu pointed President Trump, and even if it wouldn't be such a good president to the Jewish people, it would be somebody not so good, like the previous presidents, wouldn't be good. But still, HaKadosh Baruch Hu put him in such a position. He didn't come up there. There's a lot what to talk about this. I have shiurim about this, but it's not that it's not that the votes themselves by itself put him out there. There's also heaven interaction over here. So therefore, since he received such honor, we should also honor and respect and be machnif, flatter such people. And therefore, when a president of this huge country, Argentina, comes to Yeshiva and he wants to meet, such a beautiful thing, of course. And again, there was Roshei Yeshivot over there. There's Roshei Yeshivot over there. They obviously know the dinim of Bitul Torah. That's the first motto in every yeshiva, every Rosh Yeshiva. Don't waste any time. And all of the sudden they forgot everything? Of course not. Of course not. And therefore, that was a beautiful thing. Thank you.